Welcome to Naples Air Center. We're located on the southwest corner of Florida. If you know where Miami is, just draw a straight line to the west coast and that's where you will find us. We offer 365 days of blue flying weather. What does that allow? That allows us to get flight training completed in the minimum amount of time and get you to your goal as soon as we can. Naples Air Center has approvals to conduct EASA flight training operating as a satellite school of Andrewsville Aviation Limited, EASA ATPL Ground School operating as a satellite school of Bristol Ground School, and since 1996 we have held FAA-approved flight training certificates including an accelerated training. We offer a wealth of experience and our instructors come from all sections of the globe, to include Italian-speaking, French-speaking, Spanish-speaking, as well as the English every now and then. Although all the courses are conducted in English, it does help to be able to have the translation for those who are finding it a little more difficult. Some of the students actually arrive here with very basic English. However, this isn't an issue. We do have some additional English courses that specify an aviation language which really do assist. And by the time they leave here, they are speaking very well and are able to pass the radio telephony oral exam with no issue at all. Naples Air Center offers a multitude of licenses and can incorporate both EASA and FAA training into the same program. This is offering you the best of both worlds, as one never knows where the job will be when you finish training. Anyone in the aviation world knows that things do change, and to be able to have both licenses and to be able to train and work in most parts of the world is really a bonus for you, with very little extra training. Naples Air Center has been offering European flight training since 1996. We were with the CAA and then the JAA and now the most recently implemented EASA. We offer EASA flight training for PPL, night, commercial, flight instructor, and also we conduct the EASA ATPL ground school exams here in Florida. When you will complete your career pilot program with us, you will leave here with what we consider a frozen ATPL. That means you have passed 14 ATPL written exams and you hold an EASA CPL. When you return to Europe, there are only two things that you're required to do before you put in your application to the airlines. One is your instrument rating, which has to be conducted in an EASA member state, so unfortunately we can't complete that here. However, it is a relatively simple conversion, requiring a small amount of preparation training and a flight test that we can offer at your EASA main base in the UK. The last step of your training is the multi-crew course, which needs to be completed in Europe. The multi-crew course is completed on a highly advanced simulator for Airbus A320 or Boeing 737 typically. We suggest that you wait to book this until you have completed your training program and then look to see what opportunities are out there, so that you may train on an aircraft that you may be required to complete a simulator test on. For example, if Ryanair is interviewing for 737 pilots, complete your training course on a Boeing 737. You become familiar with the simulator, and when it comes to that flight sim test, you're much more comfortable than most of the other candidates. Naples Air Center is able to offer EASA PPL training operating as a satellite school of Andrewsville Aviation Limited. This is a 45 hours training program which consists of 24 hours of dual, 10 hours of solo, and an additional 10 hours that may be solo or dual if required to meet testing standards. Along with the 45 hours course, there are 9 written exams and then a flight test completed at the end. Upon completion of the flight test, you then receive the paperwork to put in the application with the United Kingdom CAA, and they'll then send your license by return. The course typically takes 4 to 6 weeks, and it really depends on you as a student. What is your background? Have you had any aviation training? If you have had aviation training, if it is not at an approved school, then we can count that towards the 10 hours of extra in the 45-hour course. 35 hours is the required training amount to be conducted at an ATO that is approved by EASA. So, if you've done 10 hours of flight training in America previously, that 10 hours counts towards the 45 hours, but not towards the 35 hours of required training. If you have conducted training at an EASA member state school, we can sometimes count this as long as we have the training records to go with it. And then we would just take you from the standard of training that you have reached and continue through the course. If you've done some studies beforehand, 4 weeks is certainly possible. However, it is 125 hours of ground school and 9 exams done in 30 days. Well, if you do an exam every 3 days, we already know that it's 27 days. It doesn't allow for any training or traveling or any sickness or any extra days you need to meet testing standards. We do prefer that you give us 5 to 6 weeks because the less pressure on you for the time constraint, the easier our job, and you will perform so much better. Naples Air Centre also offers the EASA night training course, consisting of 3 hours of dual, flight training and 2 hours of solo. Upon completion of this, we will then attach it to your PPL application paperwork and it gets added to your license at the same time. There are 2 options of obtaining your PPL here in the United States. One is that you conduct the EASA PPL training course as we are approved to do under our ATO approval. Or the second opportunity is to complete an FAA private pilot license and at the end conduct some EASA standardization training and then the skill test. One wonders, why would I need both and have to do 2 exams? Well, the good reason is that if you're doing an FAA PPL here in the United States, you actually receive an immediate license. This will allow you to immediately start hour building, take your friends and family flying, or any other opportunities you can take before you get your license for the EASA. Another additional benefit of having an FAA PPL is that this license never expires. So if you're looking to do this as a recreational hobby, that is a great opportunity for you to not have to keep doing testing, which is what you're required to do under EASA. You are allowed to fly on an FAA license in the UK and most other European EASA member states. However, you will need to check with your local flight school to find out if this is possible. Naples Air Centre is approved to conduct FAA PPL training under both FAA Part 61 and Part 141. Naples Air Centre offers a career pilot program which takes a student from 0 to all the way through to professional pilots. When you leave Naples Air Centre, you are a fully fledged commercial pilot, whether as an EASA commercial pilot, an FAA commercial pilot, or both. We do encourage students to complete both European and American professional pilot courses because one never knows what happens in this industry. You may find yourself living and working abroad where you need the FAA as opposed to the EASA license. It is the best of both worlds. That's what we offer here at Naples Air Centre, and it means that your license will cover you for whatever opportunities may arise. Our career pilot program starts with the FAA private pilot license. You then continue onto the FAA instrument license, and depending on when you finish, you may complete some hour building before entering the EASA ATPL ground school. The EASA ATPL program consists of 3 more modules. Each module ends with you visiting the exam center here in Florida to complete those exams. You are required to get the exam completed in a certain amount of time, and you have 6 exam sittings. In each exam sitting, you are allowed to take as many exams as you wish, and you are allowed 4 attempts at each exam. However, Naples Air Centre students never need them. We are proud to admit that our pass rate here at Naples Air Centre is 93% first-time pass rate, which is above the average for the EASA ATPL exams. Upon completion of your ATPL exams, you then return to the flight department. Once you are in the ATPL class, we do encourage that you conduct some hour building, as this keeps your confidence flying and it keeps your recency. This way, when you return to the flight department after completing your 14 ATPL exams, there's not such a long gap between your flight training, and we can easily transition you into the CPL training. Our course for the EASA CPL training is a 15 hours course. Typically, it's a 25 hours course. However, because you've completed the FAA instrument rating, this gives you a 10-hour credit, saving you on average $2,500. The 15 hours training course is completed in 3 weeks, although we do ask for 4 weeks just because for this type of license we are required to use an external examiner. Upon completion of the EASA CPL, we will then complete application forms and send you back to one of our affiliates just to complete the instrument conversion. There's no time requirement on the instrument conversion, just enough time for you to become familiar with the area, the airspace, procedures, so that you're able to easily pass the IR exam in Europe. Upon completion of the IR, that is when we suggest that you look at the MCC program based on the opportunities there available for you. The MCC program is a great way for you to really understand what it's like to be in a crew environment for the airlines, and you will get a wealth of experience just before you have that important simulator flight exam. Naples Air Centre is proud to be able to offer a professional career pilot program which takes us students from zero experience all the way through to an airline interview here in the United States. We have designed a program which will guarantee you an interview with the airlines. Thereby, once accepted, you will begin attaining seniority while gaining your required flight experience with NAC. Your first stage of the course starts by completing your private pilot's license, followed by the second stage, which is the instrument rating, and then your final stage to attain your commercial pilot's license. At this stage, you will have approximately 250 flight hours, and the airlines require that you have 1,500 hours to meet the airline transport pilot minimums. So how do we get you to the minimums? You will then enter a professional CPP, commencing with the flight instructor and instrument flight instructor training programs. Upon completion of this program, you are then eligible for your interview with SkyWest Airlines, which operates under the flags of Delta Airlines, American Airlines, United Airlines, and Alaskan Airlines. Once you pass your interview with them, you will then return to Naples Air Centre to flight instruct fellow cadet pilots to reach your goal of 1,500 hours, which is the magic number that will allow you to enter into the airlines. The great thing about this program is that once you embark on your time building as a flight instructor, you already have a seniority number with the airline. This is a huge advantage in the aviation industry. It's a number that you're assigned based on your start date, and it could be the difference between you holding 15 days a month off instead of 10 days off, or your choice of city to be based out of, or even upgraded to captain years ahead of fellow pilots that started with the same airline on the same day you did. In addition, a further option on the professional career pilot program is that while you're still flight instructing, gaining the minimum required experience to join the airlines, you may enroll in our aviation degree program. Although you do not require a degree to join the commuter airlines, if your goal one day is to join one of the legacy career pilots such as Delta Airlines, American Airlines, or United Airlines, you're required at this time to hold a 4-year degree. So this way, you're getting the best of both worlds by attaining your seniority with an airline prior to completing the required minimums, completing your flight training, and in addition, commencing your 4-year degree, getting you years ahead of those that attend a 4-year degree prior to commencing their flight training. Florida is the best place for our building. We have 365 days of blue flying weather. It is the best place to get that hour building done as quickly as possible, so you can start on the next portion of your training. Naples Air Centre is one of the few schools in Florida that allows you to leave Florida. We encourage you to go to places such as the West Coast. To California, it's a 55 hours round trip in a Cessna 172. Or how about New York? We have had some fantastic stories from students going up there. In order to rent an aircraft in the United States, you're required to have an FAA license. Now, this could be a full FAA license, or it could be issued by the FAA on the basis of your EASA license. This process can take 30 to 60 days or more, depending on the country. For example, the United Kingdom Civil Aviation Authority requires that every applicant complete a privacy form to allow them to give information about your license to the FAA. Once completed this conversion process, we recommend that you have your license paperwork sent to Naples Air Centre, so should there be a delay, at least a license is arriving here. Once you actually have your license verification letter from the FAA, you then need to meet with an FAA examiner. He will complete an application form and issue your temporary airman certificate. Your temporary airman certificate will have a limitation on it that says that it's based on your EASA license and only the privileges of that license can be exercised. Something to watch out for is if you have an EASA PPL license and it doesn't have a night qualification, then of course, when you're flying in America, you're not allowed to fly at night. Once you got the examiner to sign off the license verification, then what we need to do is complete the flight review with an FAA instructor. The FAA flight review consists of 1 hour of ground school minimum and a minimum of 1 hour of flight. There is an international aviation language in use, and the more comfortable you are with it, the more you're going to enjoy your experience. When you enroll with Naples Air Center, you will fill out a form online which we receive here at the administration department. We take that information to complete your SEVIS I-20 application form for your student visa. With this paperwork, along with 2 other letters, we courier this to you with a UPS tracking number so that you can see where the package is and you can estimate the time that you need to be able to make the appointment at the US Embassy. When you make the appointment with the US Embassy, they will ask you for your SEVIS ID number, which is on the application form that we sent you, the I-20 form. With this number, they then will set the appointment and you will know exactly when you can book your ticket. We do recommend that you don't book your flight until you have an appointment with the US Embassy, purely because the US Embassy is not interested in whether you're going to lose money. So please, do wait until you know that you have your visa before you book this. Typically, the process takes about 2 to 3 weeks. So, as long as you have sent the enrollment form to us, within 3 to 4 weeks, you should be ready for takeoff. Once we have received the enrollment form, you have received the paperwork, you make the appointment, you go to the US Embassy. Within 3 to 5 days after that, you have your visa back by mail. When you arrive in the United States, you are required to bring your passport, your I-20, and the other documentation that Naples Air Center has sent you. Naples Air Center has various forms of accommodation to assist you once you arrive in Naples. Some people choose to stay in our accommodation the whole time, but others prefer to go out on their own. What we suggest is that when you arrive in Naples, you actually stay in the accommodation for a month. Perhaps meet some fellow students that you would like to share an apartment with, if you wish to go outside of the school accommodation. This way, you get to know the area, how far you want to travel, and what your requirements would be. We offer both private and shared accommodation. The shared accommodation consists of 2 people in 1 bedroom sharing a bathroom. All of our accommodations offer laundry facilities, full kitchen and Wi-Fi. Don't forget, of course, they do have pools as well for you to enjoy the weekend, but I think the majority of you would rather go and explore the beautiful sandy beaches we have here. You might as well take advantage of that while you're here, because they're listed as some of the best beaches in the world. When you plan your arrival to Naples, I would suggest, if you can, to fly into Fort Myers. This is going to make a connection in your flight. However, then it's only a 40-minute journey to Naples. Since most people like a direct flight, you may need to come into a city such as Miami, Tampa or Orlando, with a preference in that order. Should you plan to arrive into Miami, there are 3 options for you to be able to get to Naples. 1 is to rent a car, which is typically the most economical. It's about a 2-hour car drive, and on average it costs about $60. You can pick up the car in Miami and then drop it off here in Naples. Another option is to get a taxi, and the cost is about $200. That will drop you to your door with no issues at all. Or you can get the Greyhound bus, which is about 3.5 hours and it costs about $40 one way. Situated on the southwest corner of Florida, we have 4 miles of white sandy beaches and have recently been voted in the top 10 of Condé Nast's top restaurants in America. Naples is an international town. Even in the supermarkets, we have international food sections, which may help you feel a little bit more at home. Typically, we suggest that you budget $25 per day for food, and this allows you to eat out.